Hello, Max. We are here, are the best advisor in law that we know here, explain us everything about the changes in law. And right now there is a new thing, important thing is changing is the visa, golden visa, wanna disappear. Was a very good visa for many people wanted to come to Spain, and right now maybe disappear. So tell us what is the thing? It's true. It's wanna disappear. When? How can? What is the other system we can use?
Sure, of course. Well, thank you, Carolina. It's great to be here, as always. So yeah, Max, I'm an immigration lawyer. I can explain, more or less the situation of the golden visas right now. Basically, what happened is that a few months ago, the government, the Spanish government, said that they were going to cancel the program because basically they saw it as a tool for speculation or that enabled speculation. The thing is, regardless of whether that was a good choice or not, during the whole year of 2024, since it was announced, it has been very uncertain because we were not sure if they were going to cancel only the real estate modality or all the modalities, and when was it going to happen, how was it going to happen. So fast forward to now, and basically the Congress proposed a bill that eliminated the whole program. This means the investment options for the real estate investment options, the investment fund options, the bank account options. What I mean is, maybe I can explain the basics again, but of course, the most popular golden visa there is the 500,000 euros real estate purchase. This is the one that people know or that people think of when someone says golden visa. But other less popular but also very useful modalities were present or are present. So far, they are still present. I'm talking about investing 1 million euros in a Spanish bank account, investing 1 million euros in shares of Spanish companies or a Spanish investment fund, or finally 2 million euros in Spanish public debt. So they want to cancel all of them. What happened is that the bill went to the Senate after being approved by Congress, and then the Senate vetoed the bill. Without getting into specifics again, this means that the information that we had was that approximately, and I say approximately because again, it's very variable, it's not precise, but approximately, or technically on January 20th, 2025, golden visas were not going to be a thing anymore. And this means that every application submitted before that deadline, or whichever deadline it ends up being, will still be valid. And what they said was that there's a disposition of transition in the law, and basically what it says is that all the applications, again, submitted before that date, will be able to be will be accepted into force, not approved, but accepted at least. They will be decided in an impartial way, and they will be able to be renewed normally. Meaning, if you get a golden visa now, in 3 years you're going to be able to renew it, and then at some point you become a permanent resident, just like anyone else. However, um, now what happened is that the Senate, having vetoed the bill is back to Congress again for renegotiation. This means that again, we are not very certain, but essentially, potentially, these are good news for investors and applicants and foreigners wanting to undergo the process in Spain, because this buys us more time. This essentially means that maybe it doesn't end in January, maybe it ends in February, March, April. We have to see how it develops. But the summation is what I told my clients a few months ago, and the same I'm telling them now, that I have this. If they're in the middle of a process or they're thinking about it, they can rush it. They can rush it and run and try to apply before the deadline. Of course, check with a lawyer to see if it's realistic or not, because depending on the situation, it might be more or less realistic. However, um, recently I had a call with some clients, and basically they said, how are we standing with this? And I said, look, it's still uncertain, but it's better than 2 weeks ago. Meaning 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, we were still thinking, okay, January, that's it. Now with this latest news, we seem to be able to do it for longer, to be able to apply later. So again, the first option is, if you're in the middle of these processes, if you're thinking of doing it and you consider that more or less you're going to be able to meet the deadline, go ahead. That would be my advice. Ultimately, you have the safety that when the deadline is announced, if your application is submitted before that, you will be able to apply. So of course, it's not very encouraging. It would be great if we had more information, but it is what it is so far. So
But
yeah,
what
sorry. Go ahead.
happened? Yeah, what happened if you say, okay, well, but I cannot do it in January, February, March. I don't have that money to invest my house. Maybe I wanna come in 5 years time. So, what
Okay.
is the next options if that visa does disappear? How can I apply?
Sure, of course. Well, in this case, if that were to happen, the advice would be the same to anyone who comes now to me and they say, I want any residence permit that is not a golden visa, meaning we would be starting from scratch essentially, right? So, of course, what I ask normally is, what are your plans for Spain? Meaning, are you planning to work or to work remotely or to not work and just live off of your savings or study? And depending on that, that's when we decide on one permit or another. Meaning, for example, I don't know, if someone says, I was going for the golden visa, but I can't get it, but I want the next thing I think would be a non-lucrative permit. Why? Because it's a permit that you don't have to base, like the golden visa, on an already existing employment relationship or on a relationship due to a job offer in Spain or due to a business activity that you want to establish or studies. Meaning the golden visa entails making an investment, complying with the generic requirements, criminal records, insurance, and so on. And then you get a residence permit. And then you can work if you want, but you don't have to. So the non-lucrative maybe would be the closest case for someone whose case I
Twin,
don't know.
more or less twin.
Yes, exactly. It's not based on an investment, and unfortunately, it's not as flexible. You can't request it from Spain for now. You have to do it from a consulate of your place of residence. You have to show that you have enough savings and insurance, also the criminal records, medical certificate. Golden visa doesn't require a medical certificate. The non-lucrative does require one. So I guess it's the closest thing, again, because it's not based on a working relationship. It's based on an accreditation of means. And the golden visa, it's not only the accreditation of means, it's also about placing the means somewhere in Spain. But I think it's the closest one. So unless someone says, okay, but I work remotely, okay, but I got a job offer in Spain, the non-lucrative would be the best one. Again, the thing about the non-lucrative is that if you're very young or if it looks like you're going to work, it might be denied because consulates have this discretionary power. With the golden visa, if you have made the investment, no questions are asked normally. What I mean is that, again, the non-lucrative is a bit more difficult, but of course, the golden visa, if you make such a big investment, it's reasonable that they're going to make it easy for you or easier.
And were many people applying for the golden visa? So why was the situation? Why they decided to cancel?
Sure. Well, many golden visas were approved since 2017. It's true that I don't have the exact numbers now, but the program could be considered a success for the following reason. Ultimately, it led to a lot of investment during the years because the law was approved in 2013 and now in 2024, 11 years later, the amount of investment that has been attracted has been a lot. So, immigration wise, and to make things smoother and in general, the golden visa was in a law that I really like, Law 14 2013. I like it because all the permits established in that law are normally fast and relatively clear and centralized, and they don't depend as much on consulates, which every consulate can make up their own rules and they can be more or less available. Instead, I really like this law for this reason. So if I can propose a permit of this law and it's available, I will go for it every time. So immigration law wise, I think it was a great program, but people were complaining about several things. First of all, they were complaining about the artificial inflation of property prices. I'm saying that because in some countries, in some other EU countries, for example, that have the golden visa, you have to submit a valuation, an appraisal of the property. And then you have to sell it for a price more or less close to the valuation. Instead, in Spain, it's just the purchase price. This means that if I have a parking spot and I sell it for 500,000 euros, the person that buys it from me can get a golden visa. Of course, this means that some properties, potentially, the price of some properties for purchase might be inflated just to meet the criteria. So, first of all, that. And of course, this made things difficult for Spaniards that maybe could buy a house at a cheaper price. Point one. Point two is this caught up with the government. Of course, the government we have now, in basic terms, because then there can be a discussion here that is not related to the subject, but it's a left-wing progressive government. So, of course, they said, okay, we are not going to allow anymore that the golden visa, works as a tool for speculation. It's true that without having the numbers in hand, purchase of property by foreigners was relatively minor. So, how much it contributes to the actual inflation of prices, or how much it is a political move, we don't know. But this was the justification.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Mhm.
So yeah, but there are many, and in another countries it's happening the same. They are canceling this golden visa.
So you hear rumors all the time, and the first rumors in Spain were maybe 3, 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, even. Portugal threatened to cancel it, and then they took it back. And since my specialty is Spain, the actual status of the golden visa in Portugal, I'm not aware, but my last news is that they took it back. What I mean is that because in the end they said, okay, look, we rely on these investments, and in the end, so of course it's possible that in the end they will take it back in Spain. Who knows? Me personally, I would like the golden visa to stay. But so far, there's not a widespread movement to cancel them. Some of them are going strong, and some EU countries still offer passports through investment. I'm talking about Malta, Cyprus. Again, my latest news. I might be wrong. Things change, and I might find out about things in other countries a bit later. But also many Caribbean islands, like I'm thinking about Vanuatu, St. Kitts and Nevis. They all
Hmm.
have these residence by investment. So far there's not a widespread global movement to eliminate it, but you never know.
So far, because could be if Portugal has and we are very close, people thinking, okay, let's go to here and going to the other country. No, could be.
That could be the case in the sense that, when the digital nomad visa in Spain was passed, we had a very, very agile digital nomad visa relatively in Spain and a very slow one in Portugal. So, Spain started taking a lot of digital nomads. Portugal still went strong, but still. So, what I mean is, when this happens, yes, there's imbalances. So, of course,
Mhm.
Portugal was very popular. And now, if the golden visa finally disappears, I feel like Portugal is going to be more popular. Some people say, look, I want to live in the south of the Iberian Peninsula. I wanted to go to Malaga, but since I wanted to invest and get a golden visa, okay, I'm going to go to Portugal. And they settle in the
This
south of Portugal. That's perfectly
exactly.
feasible. Yeah.
Could be maybe can happen the same thing. They realize that they are losing a lot of opportunities in business and they will take back. No, maybe if it's
That
the
would be
case.
great. And maybe, you never know. But of course, the Senate took the bill out, and maybe, I don't know, if they stall until we have a change of government. And then,
Yeah.
not that I want it, I'm saying that it could happen.
No, exactly.
Yeah,
Everything
exactly.
can
So,
happen. It's
exactly.
very
Yeah.
unstable, everything right
Mhm.
now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, thank you very much as always. And if someone is thinking to come to Spain, he's your lawyer, is the best. Is very, as you see, she explains very thing, very clear. Is the most important thing because
Oh,
these
thank you.
things, everyone is so confusing. So I think you explain very well. You can help a lot. I think so. If I have to move, I will, I will hire you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you,
Thank you, Carolina.
Max, again, and see you in the next. Okay,
I'll
ciao.
see you soon. Thank
Bye
you.
bye. Ciao, ciao. Bye.